Salute to Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing as the Knicks have a big victory on the road in Milwaukee tonight. Let's break it down. Friday night Knicks. It's March Madness. We've had some insane results across the league tonight, last night. But the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the New York Knicks bounce back tonight in a major way. OG Anunoby, two-way beast. Josh Hart was electric in that third quarter, and the New York Knicks were dominant defensively late, finishing with 12 steals, only 8 turnovers, forcing 16 turnovers on the Milwaukee Bucks. And it was a really, really important victory. DeLon Wright got the start tonight, and it was a decision that, was puzzling to some. Understandably, though, Tibbs wanted to keep Kolek coming off the bench, and it paid off. Kolek was comfortable in his role, finished plus 18, dishing 5 dimes, 5 points. But DeLon Wright was thriving in his role as well to get the start too. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about around the league because the New York Knicks have now swept the Milwaukee Bucks on the season now, and they are firmly in that 6th seed now, and the New York Knicks hold on with some comfort to that 3rd spot, and that is really critical. We're going to talk about the league tonight because the Detroit Pistons are causing waves right now, and the New York Knicks are moving closer to avoiding a first-round series with the Pistons as they've defeated the Cavs tonight without Cade Cunningham. And for the first time in NBA history, a team has tripled their win total from the previous season. Tripled their win total. So Detroit, shout out to you guys. Obviously they're a team on the come up. But the New York Knicks led off Mikal Bridges first half. 19 points was excellent. Let's give out these grades. I see you chat in the building, Friday night Knicks family. Blessings to everyone up in here. Tendrell, Johnny, Space, Ghost, and Above the Rim. Salute. Give us your grades for this one. I like the way the bench stepped up. We're going to give out the bench grades too. Landry Shamet, his Nick high, 13 points, was big time. The offense was moving really well. Bridges, obviously, in his first half, kept us going. But the way we were getting stops, and getting out in transition was the key for this one. Right? Everyone rolled their sleeves up and were gritty. And like I said, 12 steals as a team. This is what we want to see heading in now. It's money time as we head in to the postseason. Shortly, 9 games remain. Only 8 turnovers from our steady point guard play. Shout out Tyler Kolek and shout out to DeLon Wright for stepping in, man. It's always next man up. When we talk about this situation, Queen's Place, El Tango, Omar's in the building. Feel good win, guys. I think it wasn't cardiac. We played solid defense. Mitchell Robinson, pleasing to see his best performance, over the last 5 games. The New York Knicks didn't shoot that great, 36% from downtown, but 87% from the line. Also, it was a really, really tough physical game. No officials were giving us no calls in this one. I think we could have had easily 5 to 6 more foul calls at the basket, man. Tyler Kolek got killed on a couple of those possessions. Ryan Rollins was really D'ing up, but we put up the brick wall for Giannis. We made life difficult, forced him to jack up some threes, forced him to kick the ball out. And the Knicks won the glass as well, 51-40, winning 116-107. Right, now we get back home for Sunday night against an up-and-coming tough Blazer team as well. But hopefully as each game goes by, we get closer to getting the cap back as well. 9 games remain, fam. I'm in playoff mode right now. You guys are on fire too. Space Ghost says OG is that dog. Yep. You love it, man. He's a big game player, and I think his game's going to that next level now, heading into the playoffs too. The most pleasing thing for me, guys, let us know what you like the most out of this ball game. I like the 12 steals, less turnovers, taking care of the rock and the ball movement. 28 assists. Feels like it was more than that, but 28 assists, the ball was moving really well. Johnny says Cat deserves more respect. From the officials, 100%. Cat was physical, he battled. I kind of felt like Tibbs could have taken him out of the game. He was hobbled in that first half. As the New York Knicks had an 11-point lead at the half, it was solid. They kind of let go of the rope a little bit to close the second, but they came out strong. The Bucks made a run in the third, and they answered that call, right? But we're going to hit on the second half shortly. But the first half, right, it was Mikal Bridges' show, 19 points, and he looked as comfortable as I've ever seen him offensively in a New York Knicks uniform now. I mean, just taking on Brook Lopez, it was barbecue chicken down in the paint, no rim protection, and I took advantage of that. Of course, as I say, OG Anunoby, I feel like he gets the game ball because 31 points obviously is humongous, but defensively, he contributed to a lot of those steals and made life difficult for Giannis. Their number one threat is always going to be Giannis, man. If you can neutralize him, we obviously know no Damian Lillard. We're missing JB, but obviously, this is the Bucks team that's going to be in the playoffs, and it's likely that the New York Knicks now are going to face this team moving forward. Yeah, you guys echo the thoughts like Johnny said. Cat was getting hacked and whacked, barely gets any calls. Giannis should have had at least 8 or 9 fouls. 100% on point with this one, guys. How did you see DeLon Wright, that decision as well? Would have liked to see Kolek still get a start, boost his confidence, but I understand Tibbs is kind of easing him back in. Like Queen's Play says here, he had some really heady plays. Pleased for the man to hit this 3 as well on the kick out. Shout out to Shamit. And obviously the drive, the kick out, the ball movement was excellent here from the bridge man to scrambling all over the place with the Bucks in this one. They're not a great defensive team at the Bucks, man. I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I know I'm confident in the series against the Bucks if it is the 3-6. But I do feel like something would have to go wrong for it to be more than 6 games. Just looks like the Knicks have their measure in so many ways. They have their number right now. Like I said, no Brunson. He's set to return. Dame is going to be out, assumingly for that first round series. So, it would be a historic series from Giannis to make that competitive. But yeah, like I said, I'm feeling confident. How could you not, man? Like I said, we here right now. We here. 9 games to play, and we're getting into playoff groove right now. DeLon Wright was hitting some threes early, but OG found it to Mitchie, and Mitchie had the kick out. That was a great play as well early in that first half too. So that is the first half. The New York Knicks had 11-point lead. As I said, we're going to talk about the NBA as the Pistons have upset the Cavs. So welcome in anyone that's joining us. Smash that like button. But this was one of the big plays that changed the ball game late in the second half. Josh Hart took it strong to the rack as well, and I got one of the rare and ones for the evening, and I tweeted this out as well. But if you look at, and you guys notice by now, the way Hart protects the basketball on those drives as well. He's excellent at it, and the young ballers listening, watching the NBA should follow suit, right? He makes it so difficult, hides the basketball, protects it strong, takes it to the rack as well. Got the and one on AJ Green and Josh Hart. I tip my cap to you as well for being aggressive in this one. The jump shot wasn't falling tonight, and we needed Hart to be aggressive in this one. Almost another triple dub, says Tendrell. And yeah, Johnny says an aggressive Bridges as first option makes things happen. Creator, facilitator, defender, supreme as well. OG dominated 2 suit. Buzzer beater says we need 4 more wins. 46 on the board now. And the season series to boot over the Milwaukee Bucks. So we've got their number right now, and we are the heavyweights, one of the heavyweights in the East. The Bucks short-handed, but no JB as well. Also, prayers out to Lillard as well, and speedy recovery, like G Money says. Appreciate you for putting that in there as well, fam. Look, there's bigger things in life than basketball, and obviously a legend of the game. Hopefully, Lillard can, you know, recover seamlessly from the blood clots, and we don't know what the future holds, but the Bucks will sorely miss him right now too. So with that said, obviously he's not a defensive player too, so it didn't really change too much. I thought Ryan Rollins gave them really good minutes, and he was a pest. He was a pest for Tyler Kolek, for DeLon Wright, but our guys took care of the rock. Only 8 turnovers too. But this man, let's give him his flowers right now. Landry Shamet, fam. His best minutes as a New York Knick, coming at the nick of time, in the nick of time, as 9 games to play, and our bench scoring tonight was elite, right? We got some points off of Kolek, we got some points off of Shamet. Michi had that big put back as well, dominated the glass tonight for the team. And shout out to Shamet. He gets an A minus too. Look, if you can knock down these shots, it's going to be excellent for us, right, to get those valuable points off our bench. No Deuce McBride to come back, and obviously JB as well, right, bodes well for our chances to get through to hopefully the Eastern Conference Finals. El Tango, yeah, the Pistons absolutely destroyed the Cavs. There were scenes as they tripled their win total from the previous season. Insane, absolutely insane rise from the Pistons. And it looks like Indiana, if we can hold on to that 3rd seed, it's going to be Indiana and Detroit do battle, man. Those guys are going to basically kill each other. And hopefully we end up with the Bucks, right? I mean, it's the worst kept secret right here. I'm not going to sugarcoat things, man. I would rather the Milwaukee Bucks, but I ain't ducking the smoke. If we do somehow, manage to face Indiana, it'll be revenge. If we do end up having to face Detroit, then it's going to be balls to the wall, 5 straight versus the Bucks now, G Money says. So yeah, that is a changing of the tide in Giannis's career. Right, we've been dominating recently. So yeah, Shamet was on fire. Great play here from TKO, a rookie now shining on the biggest stage. Marquette, familiar with the area, the arena. His college coach was in the building as well. And I found OG. Heads up, heady play. All you young point guards are out there listening as well. Keep your dribble up, keep your head up, keep your dribble alive as well. And you can always be dangerous to either shoot, pass, and facilitate like you did there as well. But great cut from OG Anunoby, our player of the game tonight. And a walk-off interview, Alan Hahn, Breen, asked him on the walk-off interview, is this the best stretch of your career offensively in the last 15 games? And he agreed. He said, probably. I'm getting better every day. I'm trying to improve and help this team get to its best possible finish. And OG is really stepping up. How did they leave him wide open on that one? Man, it was absolutely insane. We surveyed 100, says hopefully Bridges and OG can continue to get these looks when JB returns. Yep, no doubt. We surveyed. Great point. I think obviously we all acknowledge that to get as far as we need Brunson back, right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that we're seeing right now that we need to keep doing even when JB returns. And so I hope we can see a bit of both. I think Brunson is a student of the game. He should be watching every single minute, breaking down this film, and say, all right, these guys are showing me something, what they can do without me. I'm going to come back and make everybody better. That should be motivation for a real leader, a first team All NBA player like JB. He should be making everybody better. But obviously the 3-point threat, the drive threat from JB is going to be key when he returns. Getting the defense collapsing, getting the kickouts as well. OG also gets the game ball. He put the finishing touches. Put the finishing touches in this one. Fam. So Buzzer says, is that Moses Brown in the back? No, Moses Brown's still in the G tonight. He was balling out in the G League. And so, yeah, still on the G League contract. Looks like the Knicks have no plans to bring him up at this stage. We had Pacome Dardier and also Kevin McCullough with the G League tonight. They had a good game. I'm going to bring up their box score in a minute later tonight. And we'll talk about that and more, guys, as we're smashing that like button, getting the streets buzzing. 9 to play now. We've got Portland on the dial coming up on Sunday. 46 wins. Right, we only need 4 more dubs, right? As I pull up the schedule, 4 more dubs to equal last season now. We've got Portland, Philly, Cleveland, ATL, Phoenix, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland again, and then Brooklyn, right? I think there's easily 4 to 5 more wins there, obviously with or without JB. I think there's a chance JB will return at some point next week. I think there's a chance, but it's more likely that if he does return, it will be the week after that. I think week commencing April 6th, right? Get a couple games in, starting maybe that Phoenix or Boston home game. That's my prediction. But we'll wait and see. We haven't heard any news earlier today, so it's still status quo with this one. So, yeah, insane victory from the Pistons, but gritty win from our New York Knicks tonight. Mitchell Robinson, one of the big pleasing stories out of this one, as well as Kolek, Shamet, and also DeLon Wright getting opportunities. But Mitchell Robinson returned. The Knicks got 51 rebounds to 40. We know Brook Lopez has been struggling recently against the Knicks, but they also don't have Bobby Portis as well, so they're really missing him too. But the Knicks got more assists, more steals, less turnovers, killed them on the fast break, second chance, and points in the paint. So it was an emphatic victory, basically wire to wire, although it did get cut down to 4 late in the third quarter, right? But the New York Knicks have been finishing games pretty strong. You know, going back since that West Coast trip, I think we've been finishing games strong. Even if we've been down, we've been clawing the deficit back, right? And it's got to feel good for Landry Shamet, finishing plus 12, 13 points, and 2 assists, 5 of 8, 3 of 5 from downtown. So the belief, the trust that Tibbs has had, I think that could be, really paying off right now. Once Shamet gets his confidence, where it is right now, heading into the playoffs, I think that is key. I'm not going to lie, because the Knicks really need 8, 9 men that they can trust, right? That can produce heading into the playoffs. Should Tyler Kolek be a part of the plans to play in the playoff rotation, right? Well, he's making a case, man. Campaign is out, and it's next man up, and you have to take your opportunities, and he's definitely making the coach think, because he's getting guys organized. You see him tonight. He's, rearranging the furniture. Hart, get over there on the weak side. I've got the strong side here. Opens the spacing up. I mean, all those things Campaign hasn't really been doing from an orchestrator point of view, right? We all know that Campaign is a bucket getter, but from an orchestrating point of view, I mean, Kolek has got him beat right now. 5 dimes, no turnovers as well. So that's key. Also, statistically, Kolek has only had, I think, 1 or 2 turnovers in his last 29 assists. Right, let that sink in. Right, 1 or 2 turnovers in the last 29 assists too. So that is excellent tonight. He was taking care of the ball, despite a lot of the pressure too. So, yeah, tonight, feel good vibes, and we'll continue to shout you guys out and look at the road ahead. Buzzer says, who's that guy on the far right with the beard and afro picture next to PJ? That is Anton Watson, fam. Anton Watson, he's the two-way developmental guy coming out of Boston, fam. So, yeah, I've got to update the graphic in the Knicks uni, but he's been with us a minute. He's had some garbage time minutes as well. And we've got Beauchamp, who was suited tonight on the bench. And we also have Kevin McCullough, Pacome getting reps in tonight in the G League. So that was key, I think, for those guys. Box score tonight from the G. I'll bring that up now. For those that missed it, it was on YouTube earlier. You can catch a lot of the Westchester games on the free YouTube channel from the G League. Dardier finished with 15 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and was 2 of 7 from downtown. And McCullough finished 15 points as well, 2 steals, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 6 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from downtown. Mo Brown, 23 points, 23 rebounds, 8 offensive, so he continues to dominate on the offensive and defensive glass. And Johnny Davis chipped in with 17 points as the Westchester Knicks have clinched the playoffs now as well. So those guys are going to get some meaningful reps, which is excellent. And speaking of clinching, as the Westchester Knicks head to the G League playoffs, of course, the big club yesterday clinched the playoff berth for the 3rd year running, fam. And let's bring that up right now. The ATL losing their game yesterday has really set things up now, and the New York Knicks can't finish below 6th right now. But of course, things are really looking up for a top 3 seed right now. Let me refresh the standings, and the New York Knicks go to 46 and 27 and have that 3, it could be 3.5 game cushion now on the Pacers as they update that in the standings. But 46 and 27, that is key, with just 9 to play. So tonight was a statement victory that the New York Knicks do not want to let the 3rd seed slip, right? And as I say, a Pacers-Piston series, that is going to be insane, right? And I do think the Knicks-Bucks series will be competitive from the point of view where, Giannis, obviously, he's not going to let his team go down without a fight. But right now, the New York Knicks just have too much, right? Brunson returning, not even Deuce McBride tonight. I mean, our bench was dominating their bench. Our role players outshone the Milwaukee Bucks role players. And from that standpoint, you got to know that, we're building in the right direction, because, if your bench can outplay their bench, that just gives everybody else confidence. Everyone's letting their hair down. Like El Tango says, shampoo let his hair out tonight for a fire stretch. Salute David M. I thought it was a great win as well. Oliver says, congrats to us, big win. James says, CT, let's go, fam, Knicks. 100%. Buzzer says, as far as I'm concerned, we're all on the level playing field with the injuries on both sides. Yep, that's fair. That's fair and reasonable, man. I think we just have to look at it like we're going out there with whoever we have available, and we've got to be confident that we're going to be the last one standing. Encouraging signs that Mitchell Robinson played better tonight. Huck Porty could be an X factor as well if he gets healthy. The rotation guys on the fringe rotation have taken their opportunities, you would say. Like Shamet's definitely that 8th guy. He's solidified that 7th, 8th guy, no matter what. Behind Mitch and Deuce. Campaign is going to be in there as well. Does Kolek become the 9th guy? Right? Does Tibbs go Precious? Does he go Huck? Does he go 10? There's options right now. That's what we should be using these final 9 games, in my opinion, right? Ease the load and definitely let these guys fight it out. Whoever's hungry the most. Uh, Buzzabita says Giannis gets away with murder. He does, man. So much of that forearm shove. He's tough to stop. But we played him well. What you got to do is sag off and let him shoot. And we did. He let us off the hook with those J's, firing up threes. Even Breen and Hahn were talking about it. Now, for the rest of the games remain, Al Tango says 5-4 or 6-3 for the rest of the way. What do you think? I think 5-4. I think 5-4 is a good shout. Not going to put as much pressure on these guys to win as much as they can because, as long as we can lock up that third seed, fam, is going to be key. As I bring it up right now, let me count down these wins and see. Right, if we can definitely get the next two, I think we're on for 6. But if we split Portland, Philly, I'll take 5. 5 more wins, that is. So, yeah, Portland and Philly, we should be winning both, technically. Cleveland, we'll see what happens. That's away. ATL is away as well. They're fighting for seeding. Phoenix, they're on the decline. Boston might have put the Q in the rack at that stage and resting their guys. And then, Detroit, Cleveland, Brooklyn. That's going to get us in playoff mode because Detroit's going to be physical in that one. They're still fighting for seeding. Cleveland, the final penultimate game of the season on our home floor at MSG versus Cleveland. At least one of those 2 Cleveland games, I think there's going to be some gamesmanship. Right. I don't see either the Knicks or Cleveland playing full strength for both of those. Maybe one of those, and the final one, maybe there's some gamesmanship where we, go deeper into the rotation a little bit. Let's see what happens, and then we finish the season. How fittingly that we finish the season against the New Jersey Nets, right, away at the Barclays at MSG 2.0. Fam. Now, the action tonight, we're going to bring that up. Continue to shout you guys out. But impressive victory. It shows that the Cavs are vulnerable. As I take a look at the box score, Detroit win 133 to Cleveland 122. Right. Timmy Hardaway turned back the clock as a Cavs killer with 32 points on 33 minutes. Osar Thompson had 18 and 10. Wow. Jalen Duren had 16 and 13. And Dennis Schroeder chipped in with 17 and 7. Malik Beasley, 19 points as well. Isaiah Stewart had 14. And Ron Holland had 10. So incredible depth as well. And of course, you may notice the name missing. Cade Cunningham was absent in this one. But I do take it with a grain of salt a little bit. Like, they fully deserve that win. But Cleveland have already secured number 1 spot, fam. So do they want to go toe-to-toe with the Pistons and really, go full bore? I doubt it. I doubt it. They're probably being a little bit more sensible about, being healthy for the playoffs, most importantly, fam. Al Tango says 3 more wins and we lock in that 3 seed. That is big. Buzzer says if he could use that armbar, he could get 20. You could, fam. Physicality is big. They're getting away with it. They're definitely. And why is Cat a foul magnet? I think it's hands. Cat gets a little too handsy. If they are likely to make a foul call, if you get your hand caught in the cookie jar, fam, sometimes you can do that little bit of that body check, hip check, and they'll let it go. If you do play sort of straight up. But once you start to get your hands in the cookie jar, man, Cat gets a little lazy moving the feet. Those that might not know, man, Cat's got massive feet. Makes a lot of sense. He's a big dude, but the dude's got like huge feet, man, and moving, being a 7-footer with massive feet, right? It's tough to stay in front of those guards, those quicker guys. But when it does come to Cat, he's a guy who, just has to be disciplined, right? It's a lack of discipline, Buzzer. Um, got to, you know, not use his hands, man. Defend with your feet, in the words of Clyde. Paula says, you said New Jersey Nets. Yeah, absolutely, I did. Linnell says, nobody wants to play the Pistons in the playoffs. Yeah, definitely. And I'm rubbing my hands at the thought of seeing Indiana bite off more than they can chew, man. It's going to be last man standing versus those two teams. And look, make no mistake, Indiana deserve to be favorites, in my opinion, because, they're the highest seed and, they're a team who have deeper talent with more experience. But I do think that Detroit will have a really high chance of pulling off that upset against the Pacers, right? I mean, there's not much in it. 1.5 between the two. And who knows? The Pistons could even get home court. The Pistons have a chance to actually climb up to the 4th seed. So let us know how you think that is going to play out. Let us know. Both teams extremely deep. I do think that the Pacers' experience will be key. They obviously are pretty gritty. We saw that last season. They've got, they can roll out 11 men. They've got Obi on fire coming off their bench. The Pacers have got a lot of wings and guards. But look, the Pistons are going to rely heavily on Cade, Beasley, Jalen Duren, and a lot of their higher tier talent. Where the Pacers might win that series is with the back end of their bench, fam. And it looks like, the Hawks are going to battle it out with the Magic to secure the 7th spot. And then the loser of the Hawks and Magic, or the loser of the Hawks and Bulls, might have to face the Magic, Bulls, and Heat. The Bulls are on a tear right now, 4 wins in a row. The buzzer beater from last night, man. I watched that game live. It was absolutely insanity the way LeBron and Luka threw that one away. But the Magic kind of going under the radar a little bit. I do think the Magic should have enough to beat the Bulls, but you just never know, man. And look, the Heat, I think they're headed to Cancun sooner rather than later. Altango says, Cat's a lack of lateral movement, size 20 in the sneakers, man. You said it. David says, Wright was good for us tonight. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it's staying ready when your number is called, and it was a little bit of a revenge back in the Fiserv Arena where he was traded. But also, he's a prideful vet. Wright's been in the league for 10 years, and you don't hang around for 10 years if you can't play. And Wright can defend. We saw that tonight. He defended the 2-on-1 extremely well and got a deflection. Yeah, he's top 10 in NBA deflections in his career, basically, in terms of year by year, and he's elite at getting his hands on those passing lanes as well. So look, is he limited to the point where he's just steady, get guys in their spots, pass the rock, and hit the open J? That's all he really needs to do. And I thought he played under control tonight. He eased himself into the ball game. I thought it was a good decision from Tibbs to make that call. So I'm going to give Tibbs the grade for tonight. Let me dial that one up. There was some stretches where I thought he should have called a timeout earlier and made some decisions to, especially when we struggled in the inbounds. But overall, the decision paid off. I think Tibbs deserves a B+ in this one. 28 assists, 12 steals was excellent. Obviously, not playing a back-to-back, guys, really, makes a big difference. That's why I didn't overreact to the Clippers. The Clippers loss. There was a lot of people losing their heads over the Clippers one. I'm like, you got to understand the NBA schedule. Good team on the second of a back-to-back. You can almost chalk that up as an L. When you're playing a team with Harden, Kawhi. It wasn't that the Knicks don't have enough talent. it was basically they were pretty limited. You see tonight, it's a whole different thing. And that's why the playoffs come. There's no back-to-backs, right? Sometimes it's 1, 2 days, maybe even a 3-day rest when the series changes cities. And I think that's going to be really key, as well as the week rest before the first round when the play-ins are taking place. Now, I do think we're going to get Deuce McBride back before JB. Obviously, his injury is less severe right now. Whether he's back for Portland, maybe the game after that, I think there's a real chance. Tom Thibodeau made a suggestion that Deuce could be back pretty soon, fam. Huck Pority's availability would give us a nice little, break glass in case, one of our big men get in any foul trouble as well. I think that is going to be key as well, guys. But with Deuce to return, that's just more bench scoring too. OG Face says Shamit, yep, took the opportunity tonight, made the most with his 13. Buzzer says JB ain't coming back until the playoffs. I think if he comes back, 3-4 games before that, it would be excellent. But if he doesn't come back until the playoffs, I think that will be still fine. The more opportunities Payne, Shamit, and Kolek get, I think that will be beneficial for the playoffs as well. And why risk it? If we can lock up the third seed, we would avoid any risk. Mitigate that. Only 7, 8 turnovers, El Tango. That was key, big time. So Tendrell's got the stats for us tonight. Like I said, 29 dimes in the last 4, only 1 turnover. Insane ratio. Yep. But also he's more comfortable against bench opponents too. So a part of being a good coach is getting guys in positions to succeed. Not throwing them out there to the wolves. He did struggle against Kawhi. The Clippers starting unit was difficult, fam. It was a tricky situation. But coming off the bench, it's a whole different thing. And he was really comfortable tonight as well. 5 dimes, shout out. Also, quick update for y'all. The other rookie, first round draft pick, Pacome Dardier, had himself a career night last night in the G as well. We gave his numbers tonight. Not as great, 15 points. But last night, Pacome Dardier was on fire with 25 points, 7 threes made, 5 rebounds as well. So getting that continuity and getting those consistent minutes up in the G is key when you're not getting, real opportunities in the big club, right? That's the only way you can continue to get better. You just got to keep playing, get that continuity up as well. So great to see Kevin McCullough and Dardier take those opportunities in the G. Right. We also have an update in regards to the draft, right? March Madness is going on right now. The New York Knicks have a 2nd round draft pick, right? I'm going to dive into it, and I'm going to give you some guys that I know of overseas who could be the next Huck Porty in my neck of the woods. There's a guy who's declared from the NBL, played against Huck Porty last year. He plays the 3-4 role. He would be an excellent backup wing that could be targeted for the New York Knicks in the 2nd round. But relating to our draft pick, the Washington Wizards have officially clinched a bottom 6 record. So that means that the New York Knicks pick that is owed to us from the Wizards won't come this year. Obviously, the Wizards are the worst team, so they will hold on to that draft pick. But next season, it is top 8 protected. So it rolls down the line. So if the Wizards aren't in the top 8 worst teams, and don't forget, it's not just about record, it's about lottery. There's a chance that the lottery balls could push, let's say the Wizards have the 5th worst record, but the lottery night could push them to the 9th spot, and the Knicks would get that pick. So we heard Chris Middleton today talking about that he believes that the Wizards could be a playoff team next season. I'll believe it when I see it. But as I said, all that would need to happen is that the Wizards to maybe finish fifth, sixth worst record, and maybe the lottery night can push them outside of the top 8. The Knicks would get that first round pick next season, right? And so that is an update on the pick situation this year. We'll wait and see how that all plays out. We got Charlotte coming up, I believe, in one of these games. LaMelo Ball has been shut down. Right? Actually, no, we played the Hornets already. So yeah, that is that. Big update as well in the West. Taylor Jenkins, man. This surprised a lot of people. Fired from the Grizzlies with just 9 games remain. Like, what are they doing? Well, I think it's a lot to do with they've probably made the decision internally that he's not going to return next season. And so what would benefit them to do that move right now and fire Taylor Jenkins is that it basically gets the word out early. It declares to all the free agent coaches first, you get in first. Our job is available. It's basically saying, hey, we're going to rock with an interim for the rest of the season. We're not going to probably win the chip, but we're going to give it a shot. But it's letting all the free agent coaches know that the job is available heading in. And obviously there might have been some toxicity playing out. Salute to Cardiac Knicks. Great to see you. I think Cat's limited with his knees, Al Tango, right now. This team's having fun playing basketball right now, definitely. But it is a struggle against elite defensive teams. Make no mistake, the Bucks are a walking layup line. Cardiac. Against the tight defense, you need a Jalen Brunson, right? And these guys know it. In terms of the playoff rotation, I basically feel like Tibbs will go probably 8, fam. It also is series dependent. And look, games, things can throw up different scenarios, but it's comfortable saying that it's going to be the starting 5 as usual, and then it's going to be Deuce McBride, Mitchell Robinson, 6 and 7, Cameron Payne, 8, fam. And I think if Tibbs can get away with that, he'll do that. He'll do Payne, Deuce, and Mitch, right? The 9th guy will probably be Landry Shamet or Precious, fam. And I do think Tyler Kolek, DeLon Wright will go back to situational. So yeah, that is my prediction. That's not what I would do. That's just my prediction based on what I think Tibbs is going to do, fam. So it's going to be the starters. It's going to be Deuce, Mitch, Cameron Payne as an 8-man. And if he goes 9, it'll be Shamet or Precious, maybe depending on matchups, etc. I would prefer him to start 9 just straight away. It's going to be a physical series. Physical playoff basketball. Officials are going to be, allowing a lot of contact as well. So I love the question. Appreciate it. How do you get fired on your day off? I think a lot of ways, man. Workplace conduct. It could be investigations going on. We might find out something later. It just could be the team's best player goes to the front office and says, "Hey, man, get this guy out of here." And look, the coach is the easiest guy to get fired, right? If the players wanted to get Tibbs fired, they could get Tibbs fired, man. Make no mistake. The players have the most power, right? All you got to do is shortchange your effort, take plays off, take some bad L's, and the coach will get fired. That's why I don't believe the Knicks want Tibbs gone, but ultimately it might be a different kind of firing. It might be, look, we've gotten to the end of the road. In the summer, they can make that evaluation. But right now, I'm locked in. Now, some big news also coming out of Jake Fisher, friend of the show, and that is that the Celtics are poised to have to make room, shed some salary, And on the shopping block could be Kristaps Porzingis or Drew Holiday as the hot names to watch to get traded in this summer, because obviously the payroll, these aprons, the tax bill is no joke. And I've been talking about this for a minute, guys. So don't feel discouraged if the Knicks can't get past the Celtics this season, right? Like, as I said, some teams need a few years to build up to where they need to get to. The Celtics had to lose the NBA Finals for them to get back and win it again. The Denver Nuggets had to experience a lot of playoff losses to eventually get the pieces needed to get to the top. Now, if the Celtics have to trade Kristaps or Drew Holiday, that makes them significantly weaker. And if the Knicks can get stronger as well, next season is going to be a brand new season. New teams, new rosters, new opportunities, right? Whatever happens this season stays in this season. It'll be over once it's over, and roster building will be key for Leon Rose. We do know we have another draft pick in the second round. We'll have the 5.5 taxpayer mid-level at least. We could use part of that to bring Cam Payne back if Cam has played himself into a higher price than just the minimum. Huck Porty, we could decline his second year of his team option and give him a longer term deal as a way to keep him on the cheap, like we did with Deuce McBride and Jericho Sims. We could do that. And then the salary cap has gone up by 10%. So we will do a bit of cap talking in the off season, obviously, as well. But yeah, the Knicks have got opportunities to strengthen their squad and the bench. So timing is really, really key on this one. And look, there is some culture things going on in Memphis with obviously previously with the trade where they sent out Dylan Brooks too. So I'm not going to speculate. I haven't heard anything about it, but look, something just hasn't seemed right in regards to the Memphis Grizzlies, fam. But look, in regards to us, I think it's time where I can pretty much evaluate the regular season now. I'm going to give you my thoughts overall on where things sit now heading into the postseason. Obviously, there's still 9 games to play, and if this changes, I will update my thoughts, of course. But the New York Knicks are basically poised to lock up the 3rd seed, get 51, 52 wins, 50 wins, with some injuries in mind. I think it's been a successful regular season because it's put us in position now. I mean, you can't ask for anything more in terms of just get to the playoffs in position to where you need to be to make noise, right? And the rest obviously will come after that. But we haven't played our best basketball at times. We haven't been the most consistent team. We've struggled against elite teams, no doubt about it, right? And obviously that will come to further under spotlight when the playoffs commence. But in terms of just the regular season, I don't know how much better you could say it could go. What could you say? 60 wins and get the 1st seed? Yeah, outside of that. But was that realistic? Probably not. The 2nd or 3rd seed was probably the next best, case scenario. The New York Knicks will have home court. We won't probably face the Pacers or the Pistons. It's either going to be Bucks, Hawks, Magic, all those teams below us. You would have signed up for that. If I told you at the start of the season, hey, the Knicks are going to get 50 plus wins, they'll have everybody healthy when the playoffs start, they'll have the 3rd seed home court, and everyone from the 6, 7, 8 seed and the 9 seed are the Bucks, Hawks, Magic, and the Bulls. You would have said, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Now, obviously, there's some nuances throughout the season. I would have preferred Tibbs to give a longer look at some of the rookies earlier in the season. I definitely agree with that. I feel like there was opportunities where he didn't need to play Jericho Sims. He could have played Huck Porty from the get-go. There were second nights of back-to-backs and whatever. He could have played Pacome. Could have played Dardier. Could have played Kolek, of course, a lot sooner. When campaign was struggling. All of those things are true. You could say that. But where we sit right now, those guys are getting opportunities now, albeit due to injuries and the nature of the schedule. But Kolek's taking those chances now, which is great. Delon Wright showing that, okay, maybe that trade for Jericho, a player that we weren't going to play and was on an expiring contract. As I said at the time of the trade, I said, hey, we've added some depth. We've balanced the roster out a little bit more. A lot of people didn't like the Delon Wright move, the trade, thought, just another stiff that's not going to play. Well, maybe tonight proved some of those people wrong. Maybe it didn't. But at the end of the day, it did prove my point where it balanced the roster out. We had too many bigs and we didn't have enough guards. Now we see Deuce is out, banged up, heading into the playoffs. We see Brunson out, banged up. Cameron Payne is now banged up. Well, isn't it a good thing that we went and got another point guard, another veteran who can defend? And in the case of break glass, in case of emergency, the guy is experienced enough where in a playoff series, you can throw him out there and not be worried. And so I think at the end of the day, if Delon Wright sticks around, there's probably better options we could have done in regards to TJ Warren, Chuma Akeke, and all of that, talent that can score the basketball. But you see some of the intangibles that Delon Wright brings to the table. Tibbs obviously looks at him as an option, gets the start tonight. Now, obviously, most likely he's not going to see any playing time, regards to Payne getting healthy, Deuce and Brunson. But it's a relief to know that, hey, we now have 4 point guards, ladies and gentlemen. Like, since I've been a fan for 30 plus years, I've never been able to say that the New York Knicks have a 4 point guards. You know what I mean? It was basically like, okay, we have maybe 1 point guard. If he gets injured, we're screwed. But that isn't the case. That isn't the case right now. In regards to Dante, man, I think some point in the future, probably not next season. As Buzzer asks, could we maybe get Dante back? I think there's a good chance we might go heavy after Dante after his contract expires. He's got 2 more years to run. I could see us making a run, Minnesota making a run, and his contract ending. Maybe we shed a few salaries and the stars align like that. But I don't think it's likely for next season. He's on $12 million. We would have to find a significant salary to shed. The only contract that we have would be maybe Precious and a few rookie contracts. Minnesota aren't going to do that. So I think more than likely Dante's heart, just watching him recently, seeing interviews, Dante's heart is in New York. He really didn't want to get traded. So maybe in 2 years when he's a free agent, he has his control of his destination. He might decide to come back home, fam. But trades are always tricky in relation to making the other team have to give up the player, as we saw with Mikal Bridges. We needed to give up 5 first-round picks, right? But if there's probably the best trade the Knicks have made in the last 5 years, fam, let us know what you think. Is it the OG Anunoby trade? Is it the Josh Hart trade? Is it the Karl Anthony Towns trade? Right. A lot of them are worked out in the Knicks' favor, especially those 3 so far in regards to Cat. But if you could only choose one, right? If you could only pick one as your favorite trade or the best trade the Knicks have made, in the last 5 years, would you Would you do the OG one first? Would you do Josh Hart? Would you do Karl Anthony Towns? Would you undo the Mikal Bridges one and keep Randall and DiVincenzo? So what would be your first ranked trade, whether you would do or undo again? Let us know your thoughts on that one, guys. Yeah, Celtics got the big sale, $6 billion, fam. The new owners, tax bill is incredibly high, too. Buzzer says I wouldn't be surprised if they traded both Drew Holiday and Kristaps. You might be onto something. They might even shed more salary so that they can add more pieces. Don't forget, they've got to pay Peyton Pritchard. They've got to pay Sam Doogie Howser, at some point. And so, yeah, it's very interesting with the roster building out in Boston. They might not even, compete. They might not even contend this year. We might be thinking, hey, is that version of the Celtics done? Nice ball movement here. I like this one. Mitchie acknowledging the corner shooter. And DeLon Wright, more confidence. David says, out of the trades for what we gave up, definitely the Josh Hart trade. It was a culture setter as well. I like that, David. Definitely. Obviously not in terms of talent. We're keeping it a buck. OG is more valuable, I feel, as a talent in terms of defensively and offensively. But I think close behind would probably be Josh Hart. For me, second. It would be the OG one. It would be Hart. And it would be then Cat. But obviously the Cat one could catapult us to the top. Fam. If this Cat trade gets us to the Eastern Conference Finals, and raises our ceiling, and next season we're competing, and next season after that we're competing, it'll be a big win. Big win, no doubt about it, fam. Do the Knicks even look for minority ownership as well? Buzzer says big, controversial, explosive moves in the NBA this season, right? A lot of trades have been working out for one team or the other, You see the Chicago Bulls got Josh Giddey for giving up Caruso, no picks, nothing. And now they got rid of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan as well. They're thriving right now, man. 8 of the last 10, 9 of the last 11 Chicago Bulls, man. They might have supplanted the Hawks, the Heat, and the Magic, and the next season. Maybe even the Pacers. The Cat trade is the one I keep, says Buzzer. Interesting. You like what you've seen so far? Or do you mean in terms of keep, in terms of you keep Randall and Devo? I think that's what you might mean, fam. Altango says the OG trade put us on the right track. Yeah, it was more. I'm not trying to say that RJ and Quickly weren't going to work here. I just think it was the perfect timing. We paid RJ. We got to the point where him and Randall weren't connecting in terms of floor spacing, and both needing to drive to the paint, and Quickly needing to get paid before him getting paid, and needing the starting role to shine and get his value up. So we kind of sent that out at a time before the timer went off, if you know what I mean. It was basically a bomb set to explode, and we packaged that out for the maximum value and got OG Anunoby back. Unfortunately, we had to pay OG a little bit more than we expected, and that probably hampered our opportunities to build more depth for this summer. But I mean, look at the way OG is playing. You can't argue with how valuable that has been. Okay, Buzzer, yeah, you would do the Cat one 100% because you're glad Randall is traded, understandably. I think obviously Randall was here, helped set the culture as well. I think Randall did a good job culture setting. The roster evolved year upon year, but the year that Randall arrived, we were bare bones. We were basically a team, in search of an identity. You know, we got left at the altar with KD and Kyrie Irving. You know, we got left at the altar with those guys, and it worked out in the end. But Randall came in and then yet helped this team, this organization, get better. I just think it ran its course. You know, same thing in Minnesota in regards to Cat. You know, I think they tried to get as far as they can. Financially, they needed relief, and it worked out for us as well. I think with Karl Anthony Towns. And look, man, since Mitch has got back healthy, that goes hand in hand, I think, with a Karl Anthony Towns, because having Cat here healthy is great, but playing the five is not his position with the Knicks. I think moving forward, getting Mitchell Robinson back healthy after losing Isaiah in the summer was basically much needed. And obviously a playoff series is going to hit, and we're going to see exactly how that looks, you know, more closely with Mitchie and Cat, you know, playing more minutes, you know, together. Tonight we saw significant minutes with those two on the court at the same time, and it looked fine. You know, the New York Knicks had good rim protection. We gobbled up those boards. We won 11 on the rebounds. Cat with 10, Hart with 14, Mitchie with 10. I mean, that's astounding, fam. Between three guys, you get 34 rebounds, right? Three guys get you 34 rebounds combined is excellent, and that is how you dominate, ladies and gentlemen. So now, let us wrap up by looking at the action around the league. As the rest of these games wrap up, the Warriors got a much needed win. The Nuggets got their win as well over a lot of teams tanking. Timberwolves got a big win as well. It looks like the Phoenix Suns might be out of the play-in completely, right? KD's definitely going to get traded. The Pistons and the Knicks, of course, got their big win. So yes, the Suns are in 11. They're only a game and half a game behind the Mavs in 10th. So it's hot for that 10th spot in the West, man. What a disaster if the Suns don't even make the play-in is going to be, right? Which looks to be true, man. Anthony Davis is back. You know, we've faced Dallas already. We're not going to face them again. We missed out on Anthony Davis and his return. Maybe the Kings can drop down a little bit, but the Suns, the Mavericks and the Kings will fight it out for the 10th spot. Out east, the Heat have basically guaranteed the 10th spot. There's a chance they could get 9 and catch the Bulls, but I think the Magic are going to be pretty safe in the 8-9. The Hawks right now can't catch the Bucks, so I think the Bucks are still pretty confident they'll get the play-in spot, and they'll be having to face the New York Knicks though, unless they can really get a few much-needed wins. Now, it's not guaranteed because the Pistons could still lose a few and fall back down, but on the merit of where teams are trending, I think the Pistons will be likely to secure the 4 or 5 spot and avoid the New York Knicks, man. Let's keep it real, man. It's not the Knicks avoiding the Pistons. The Pistons want to avoid the Knicks, right? Everyone been getting it twisted, you know. Yes, the New York Knicks would prefer not to play the Pistons in the first round over the other teams, but the Pistons should be trying to avoid falling into 6 because they don't want to have to play the Knicks. They've got a shot against the Pacers, you know, in my mind. What was the play of the game for tonight? Buzzer, you like the Shamet threes. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna choose this one. I'm gonna choose my play of the game. I'm gonna bring that up. It is the man of the hour right now. Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind, fam. It was going to be the Kolek dime to OG, but it was a simple dime. But in terms of momentum, I'm going to go with this one, fam. I'm going to go the Josh Hart and one. This Josh Hart and one. This changed the momentum because the Bucks had got back into it, and the New York Knicks needed someone. They needed a Lion Hart to step up and finally get a call. He said, "I'm getting a foul call. Get out of my way. I'm making a bucket." You know, he sees AJ Green. That's mouse in the house. That's barbecue chicken. Right, go at him. And as I further broke down on X as well, make sure you follow us on X at Knicks Buzz if you are on X. I don't have an Instagram account, but TikTok, Instagram, I'll be making some updates in the summer and getting on more platforms. But as I put here, the way Josh Hart protects the rock on those drives needs to be followed by all young ballers out there, fam. It's a sight to behold because once Hart gets in that position, he gets the step. You're not touching the ball, you're not stripping it, and you either get out of the way or you get a foul call. Or you foul him to hope that he doesn't make the basket. I think that might be the best case. But yeah, the way Hart protects that basketball needs to be studied because OG doesn't do it. OG gets stripped a lot. Cat doesn't do it. He gets stripped a lot. Mitchie doesn't protect the basketball too. He often gets stripped. Brunson, he can do it sometimes, but he can also get stripped as well. But when it comes to Jay Hart, man, you could probably count on one hand the amount of times he'll get stripped. Because if he is running to the cup like that and I can cup the ball and protect it like that, you're not stealing it. You're not stealing it. And that guy, needs to learn now on the scouting report, either foul hard or get out of the way. And it's just such a simple fundamental, but I guess it's technique as well. And if one thing Hart's great at is that specific technique, right? We know he can't really shoot great. He can facilitate with the best of them, but probably driving to the lane, 6'4" and under, he's probably one of the best guards in the NBA, man, at this particular skill set. And rebounding, obviously, 6'4" and under. It helps that he's got the man strength when it comes to that one as well. Bradley Beal got the Suns handcuffed, yep, says David. Buzzer says, can you predict the next game-changing move this season in the NBA? I think it's going to be the biggest name probably, and there could be a few ways to look at it. It could be the biggest name getting moved, or it could be a big power move in terms of just great fit. But I do think if you're looking at the biggest name, it's going to be Kevin Durant. And he's not going to get moved to a team that's not a contender. So whichever team he goes to is going to make it, it's going to set them up even more, fam. So I do think Kevin Durant's probably going to go to an underrated team, like maybe the Spurs, maybe the Rockets, and maybe make them a powerhouse. Maybe even Memphis. I don't see him going back to the Golden State Warriors. I don't see him coming out east either. I think Durant will stay in the West, fam. So I think he's probably going to go to the Rockets. They've got a lot of assets. They've got young talent that could help Phoenix rebuild. I'd be definitely asking for Thompson, but if not, I'd be asking for Jalen Green, Tari Eason. I'd be asking for the other young lottery pick, starting with C, I think, and he can't get into their rotation. So yeah, I think if I'm the Rockets, I move heaven and earth to try to get Durant. So that could be game changing out west. In terms of the East, yeah, I got to keep my eyes on what Detroit want to do. They might have some picks and try to get a veteran. There's rumors Devin Booker from Michigan. They might try to make a splash if Phoenix try to try to blow things up. But I probably think that Boston will be the team to look at, because they're going to have to make changes. Cleveland might put their authority on the East for this postseason. They've got DeAndre Hunter now. They don't really need to make any more moves. They've got Kenny Atkinson returning in the second year, a great coach as well. On that note, man, a game-changing move could be a New York Knicks coaching move. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do think if the Knicks were to decide to move Tibbs on and try to move someone in that they feel could help the team get further, that would be a game-changing move, because it wouldn't be an easy decision. You know, making the playoffs so many years in a row, continuity, stability. That would be Leon Rose moving out of the comfort zone that we haven't seen yet. That would be, you know, Dolan, Rose, Rosas, and William Wesley. A coaching change would be like a game-changing type move, potentially, exactly like it was for Cleveland this year. And that was game-changing, you know, Cleveland getting in Kenny Atkinson. Tendrell says, I like the optimism. CT, let's go Knicks. Pacers versus Pistons will be, yeah, awesome series, man. That'll be throwback. I do think I would start Pacers favorites. I've got to give them the respect because they've got the veterans, but young, hungry Pistons. We'll see what they're capable of doing. But I wouldn't say it would end any earlier than 6. I would say 6 or 7. Bam. Knicks Bucks, I would say it would probably be over in 6, 5 or 6, in my opinion, fam. So on that note, it was a feel-good vibe in this one as Kolek got back to his old stomping ground and Landry Shamet stepped up with his best game as a Knick. Mitchell Robinson is back, and the starters, led by OG, Cat, Bridges and Hart, with efforts from DeLon Wright. A surprise, but I'll take it in this one. And the Knicks chalk up the 46th win on their season. Really important victory, no doubt. Much needed. And let's see what they do on Sunday night against Portland. A much bigger test, I feel. But the Knicks will have home cooking in that one. Man, big up to the chat, Knicks family. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. March Madness is going on right now. I've got to talk about that a lot more too, because there's some prospects I'm looking at too. Florida had a big win yesterday. Duke. Could Florida and Duke, I haven't seen the bracket, but could they be on a collision course? Like I said, there's some prospects that have announced they're declaring for the draft as well that I think could fit the Knicks in the wing spot, specifically in the 3-4 role, maybe backing up OG next season, guys. But thank you for the buzz tonight, much appreciated, and let's go Knicks. Right, we here, it's money time, 9 to play, starting Sunday night. After that it'll be 8, and then we know it's 7, then we know it's 6. Before we know it, we'll know the matchup in the first round. But it's looking like an early preview with tonight, with JB set to return, Deuce, but no Damian Lillard right now for the Milwaukee Bucks. Can they respond? We'll find out. But the Knicks have won the season series now, and confidence is going to be super key on that one, guys. So be well, salute, and we'll catch you again soon on Sunday. Let's get it. It's an earlier tip.